Because so many people now, at the moment we've got cost of living crisis. People are in full-time employment, but they can't afford the food on the table. So I'm a Pashto speaking or a Pathan woman. So I'm a minority within a minority. I obviously identify as a Muslim, and then I'm a female. So if you look at it on paper, all of these things, people would say, well, that's going to be used against you.
Hi, I'm Luke from Burnley.social, and the following podcast is a Burnley Business Week special. Burnley Business Week is sponsored by Burnley College and organised by Burnley Borough Council, and it features a full week of free live seminars. I'm also hosting a different podcast for each day of Business Week, filmed and recorded right here at Burnley College. These will tell you the stories of different local figures in business. I really hope these interviews inspire you, and I'm sure you'll find them relatable and valuable in many ways. The podcasts are released on Burnley Social's Facebook, burnley.co.uk's YouTube, and Burnley Council's Spotify. Without further ado, let's get into the interview. Enjoy. Lubna Khan is the Managing Director of Curantis Healthcare, a leading provider of high-quality home care in Lancashire. Hello, welcome to another Burnley Business Week podcast, sponsored by Burnley College. And thank you, Burnley College, for lending us this wonderful podcast studio. I'm here with Lubna Khan from Curantis Healthcare. Lubna, do you want to tell me a bit about yourself and tell me about Curantis and what Curantis offers?
Hi, Luke. Thanks for having me here today. So my name's Lubna Khan. I'm one of the business owners of Curantis Healthcare based in Burnley. We run a business which predominantly basically provides care for the elderly and people who are vulnerable. And it enables them to stay at home, to live a life where they are comfortable and in familiar surroundings. And then obviously it helps them to make sure that they have that choice, the choice of, where they sleep, how they want to live their life, what they eat, and they can have the people that they want to come and visit them around them. So yeah, very proud of the fact that we own a domiciliary care business in Burnley.
Brilliant. And how many people do you employ at the moment?
So, I remember when we were speaking earlier, Luke, and I was explaining to you that, can you believe we actually employ just under 100 people, which to me is massive. I just think, it's really easy on the tongue to say we employ 100 people, but that's 100 people that, they can provide for their families, they can, buy the things that they want to for their kids. We obviously work with our staff, so they're flexible hours. We have people who work in evenings only, people who work around the school run, people who do nights. That's 100 people in Burnley that can have a good quality of life and can provide for their families as well. So it's no small feat, really. It's quite something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Adding value to your employees and to the wider community as well. So I want to get the story right from the beginning. Before Curantis, what were you doing before then, and how did Curantis come about?
Have you got time, Luke? We've got quite a story.
Yeah, let's go for it.
It's quite a story. So in this building, 17 years ago, I started doing a community leadership degree. So you'll have heard of the famous Lord Wajid Khan.
Of course, legend.
Literally. So he was my lecturer at the time, and what he'd done is he'd tailor-made a degree program for people who didn't actually have the qualifications per se that you would traditionally expect, but had life experiences. So I was actually meant to become a doctor, and that's where my life was heading up until that point. But very fortunately, I would say that didn't go according to plan, because obviously I was meant to be here instead. And what I did was start doing this community leadership degree program with one of my best friends that I met 17 years ago. And we enrolled on that. And as part of that leadership program, we had to do volunteering work. So I went into an office on Abel Street and met my now business partner there and started my journey doing some volunteering work for him. And it was part of a peer mentor project. So it was a project where you basically were delivering in churches, mosques, community groups, after school clubs, and we were engaging with young people. It was about raising awareness about drugs and alcohol. And you'll have heard of Leah Betts and the Sorted campaign, and this is quite a long time ago, Luke, so I'm not sure if you have.
I was about 7, I think.
I hope you hadn't at that time.
No.
But yeah, so it was off the back of a load of issues that young people were having. Obviously, them issues, they're always going to be there. Young people have much to contend with in this world. But part of working with young people was that we were building rapport with them, building relationships with them. I see some of them young people in Burnley now as adults, mastering their own lives. And it's amazing to know that, in some small way, we helped them with that. So that's where I started with my business partners who we currently own Curantis Healthcare. But previous to that, I used to be an interpreter. So I used to...
Oh, wow.
It was a brilliant job. I used to go all around the country and interpret for the Home Office and courts and social services. I speak a language which comes from the subcontinent, but it's people always traditionally think that if you're from the subcontinent, you speak Urdu or Punjabi, but that's not my language. It's a language that is, I would say our people in Burnley are minority within a minority. I have a bit of a general knowledge question for you, actually.
Go for it.
Do you know which country this language comes from? I speak the language Pashto.
Pashto?
Yeah.
I'm good with general knowledge. Ask any of my friends. I'm a bit of a geography nerd, history nerd, but I'm sorry, I don't know that one.
Your pronunciation, though, is absolutely amazing. You have to say that again. That was amazing.
I've forgotten it already.
Pashto.
Pashto.
Yeah, your pronunciation is brilliant.
Spot on.
Well done. It's from Afghanistan.
Right.
So that's where it originates from. It's got Persian roots, Farsi roots, so it's a completely different language. And the majority of people that speak Pashto either live in Afghanistan or they live in a valley in Pakistan, which is where my family's from. And this valley is called, it's spelled SWAT, so it's Swat. But if you're from Burnley, you'd say Swat.
Swat.
Yeah, you're so good. Are you a languages person?
I'm not. I'm awful at languages.
Well, to me, you sounded brilliant. So we basically, I speak this language that is quite unique, and I was, all over the country doing my interpreting. But obviously, I was meant to, that chain of events was meant to happen. So I started working on this peer mentor project. We worked with over 1,000 people in Burnley who every year we'd have 10 people, and they would go into all these different venues, and then we would engage with young people in the communities. So off the top of my head, I can't remember now how many young people we'll have engaged with, but we had 1,000 peer mentors by the end of a 10-year project. So that was quite, a big achievement. Yeah. And then working with them young people, obviously you are exposed to a lot of the issues that young people have, which is brilliant. Except then we went to the complete other end of the spectrum, you see. So we were working with young people, and now we work with the elderly. Totally different.
What was that contrast like? What was it like changing?
It's brilliant. I'll tell you, if you follow the logic, it actually makes a lot of sense. So when you're working with young people, they go through all the motions of trying to identify in society, learn who they are, go through the problems that young people have. And they can be really small, from family issues to, trying to, do your theory test, trying to learn to drive a car, maybe having children even at a young age. They go through a multitude of issues. So working with young people exposed us all to that. But then obviously now that transition from working with them to young people means that the people we now work with have been through all that. So they're not just a client, they're somebody who have had them life experiences. And I always say that it's really easy on the tongue to say, well, I had 5 kids and I did this job. But actually for somebody who went through that, they had that excitement, that happiness, that frustration, that, waiting to find out results of their driving test or the results of their, if they did a degree, whatever it was. They have been through a whole lifetime. And so from working with young people to know what they're going through, to actually meeting with the elderly or vulnerable, and knowing that, they've had all of that. Now they're actually in a position where maybe the body is not as it used to be, which is a really strange concept for most people to get around, because obviously if you need to do something, you want to get up and go and do it. But my father, unfortunately, he's passed away. And he said to me just before he passed, he said, it's a strange world where I'm an old man in it, because he didn't see himself as an old man, you see. And a majority of our clients are elderly, and they would feel like that because they must think, well, okay, my body doesn't work as great as it used to, or my memories are not as good as it used to be. And that is really difficult. But I think it's great for us that we know that we can understand that they had this life before, and we try to instill that into our workers as well. So that that they're engaging with them, that they, converse with them, they ask them about what they used to enjoy, and see if they can get back to doing that, or something that gives them the same kind of happiness. So if you did like ballroom dancing when you were younger, you might not be able to ballroom dance again, but you could maybe watch that. It's all about what gives you happiness. I think that's what the key is, really. That's what we try to instill anyway.
Yeah. And I think there's too many businesses out there that maybe look at their clients or look at their customers and just see a number or a figure on the screen. And it's not just that. You're making a difference for people. So it's not just a number or a figure. You need to take consideration their needs, their wants, their dreams, their fears. Yeah. It's a lot more than that, isn't it?
It's a human thing, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you're pink, yellow or green. To me, like, we're really big on that. If I just let you know like how we started, Luke, and it kind of like moves into that. When we started, it was in 2018. So we set up in 2018 because my business partner had the idea that, why don't we go into care? And my grandmother had been through having carers at home, and his mother had as well. Sadly, they both passed. But that experience obviously showed us what carers did. And to us, it was that we could do this, but we could do it on a better scale. I mean, with all due respect, the carers that came to see my grandma were brilliant. But we're because of our exposure, and like for me personally, I could say that, meeting so many different kinds of people from all walks of life really does open up your mind, to what people, their lifestyles might be completely different to yours, but that's what feels right for them. And that's what's important. So if you're a Hindu, you'll go to the temple. If you're a Muslim, you'll go to the mosque. If you're a Christian, you'll go to the church. And if you're a Satan worshipper, you will have an altar fashioned in your home, which we have had. Wow. So we had a Satan worshipper, and he deserved care just like everybody else does. And so we've worked with many different kinds of people. And I think it's really important that thing about, that cultural sensitivity, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what choices are you still able to make for yourself? So, some of our clients, maybe they have MS, maybe their body doesn't work from the head down, but they still can decide what they want to wear that day. They might not physically be able to go and get it, but they still have that choice. And it's really important that how they spend their life, especially towards the end of it, is what makes them happy, if that makes sense. Because, you might be in pain, but just because you're in pain doesn't mean you have to be miserable about everything else as well. And that's hopefully the difference that we make. I think it's really important because we're not a faceless company. We're a Burnley born and bred company with local people working for a local business. And to us, it's really important that them people are happy in their home, I think. That's the bottom line, really. They get all the care they need. I think that's our strapline, actually. All the care you need. And that's what matters to us.
Fantastic. I know a lot of businesses in Burnley, and I'll have to admit, I'd only just come across Curantis this year. We uploaded a video on burnley.co.uk featuring you and your business partner. And it was such a heartwarming video. We got some really nice comments on there. And I thought, who is this? What is this agency? Because the comments were really nice. And then you were shortlisted for Medium Business of the Year at the Business Awards. And I thought, I really need to look into these. So there's clearly something special about Curantis Healthcare. What do you think makes Curantis special? What sets it apart from other agencies?
Yeah, I applied for the award at the beginning of the year when I heard about it. I never in a million years, Luke, thought we'd become a finalist.
Yeah, we get so many applicants as well. Amazing applicants.
Honestly phenomenal. To me, I kept on saying to my team, we are winners. Even though we didn't win, we are winners. And actually, funny, strange side note, you might want to edit it or you might want to keep it in. Do you know what we did the day after? Because my carers and my staff, I bought tickets for everybody. We decided that they were winners regardless. And so we had our little awards in the office.
Oh, brilliant.
The day after.
Yeah, love it.
I went to the florist and I was like, can I get some flowers? I'm going to give the best manager award to the manager and the best admin person to her. And it's quite hilarious because there's only one of each of those people. So they had no competitors. But they got the fun out of it. And the florist said to me, she said, you didn't win. She said, just knowing that you're doing that makes me feel like, what winners you are. And, congratulations to the winners, the actual winners on the night. I personally think that Burnley has so much to offer. The businesses in Burnley are amazing. And to me, we were just so proud that we were a finalist. It meant everything. And we did really feel like winners. So, yeah, we're really lucky. I think what sets us apart is that ethos of that what we're there to do is not... If you wanted an easy job, Luke, or an easier job, should I say, and you just wanted to make some money, it would make more sense to go and go to a supermarket, stack shelves.
It's not about the money. It's that people care about what they're doing.
There's no money in it. Let me tell you, there's no money in it. But it's really rewarding. And strange as that might seem, because so many people now, at the moment we've got cost of living crisis. People are in full-time employment, but they can't afford the food on the table. So we've got so many issues of our own. But I think it's that pivotal thing, isn't it? What sets us apart from the rest of the animal kingdom. Human beings have that logical thinking. If you're down, if you're sad, if you're upset, you go and help somebody who is in that same situation, and actually uplifting them will make you feel better, even though your life situation hasn't changed. So these carers that go and help these vulnerable people and the elderly, I think it's such a rewarding job. That's what makes the difference, that they do it because of that empathy and that sympathy that they have. I always say that the carers are superstars. You have to be a superstar to do this job. You cannot be anything less than a superstar. It's the hardest job on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever, as an adult, been to the hospital, there's like doctors, nurses, people looking after you because, for whatever reason, you're unable to do it. And getting your head around that, all of a sudden you have to deal with bodily fluids. That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's not for everybody to do. No. So for people to do that, just as a starting point, that's not even, learning about somebody and talking to them. And, I'm just talking about the actual logistics of care. You have to be a superstar to do that. It's not for anybody who's, you have to be really thick-skinned. And then you've got clients who are in an immense amount of pain, and that will make them short-tempered and that will make them angry. It might make them forgetful. It might make them annoyed. They might accuse you of things. There's a whole range of things that you have to deal with. So any morning or any shift that you start, you're going to be dealing with one kind of person, and you might end your day with a totally opposite kind of person. But the people that work for us do that day in, day out, and they do it because they love it. That's why they do it. They don't do it because, they can't get another job. Of course they can. And our retention rate is really high. The people that walk through the door that start working with us, it's very rare that they don't stay. So that to me shows that we must be doing something right. But equally, our recruitment process is so heavily vetted. We're making sure we've got the right people on board, because otherwise it won't work. It won't work for them and it doesn't work for us. So yeah, I think that's hopefully what makes us different.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Burnley.
I'd love to.
Yes.
Love Burnley.
Who wouldn't want to talk
Brilliant
about Burnley?
Burnley.
Yeah. Why do you like doing business in Burnley, and why do you like the people of Burnley? Which I presume you do.
I love the people of Burnley. I love the people of Burnley. I think if I just take myself, because you can only go for your own life experiences, right? So I'm a Pathan, which is the kind of person I am, from the ethnicity I am. So I'm a Pashto speaking or a Pathan woman. So I'm a minority within a minority. I obviously identify as a Muslim, and then I'm a female. So if you look at it on paper, all of these things, people would say, well, that's going to be used against you. No, never. Not a problem. No hindrance. And Burnley to me is exactly that. Such an accepting town. I think that, if I look back at, how if I look at how far we've come, how far we've progressed as a town, it really is a prosperous town going somewhere. And to do business in Burnley is an absolute pleasure. The people that we meet, the people that give us opportunities, the people that will give us a chance. And that's based purely off capability. It's nothing to do with what anybody looks like or how they identify or how they present. It's all about, is this the right person for the job? So my advice to anybody is, if you're a capable person, you have the skills and the tools to do whatever it is you want to do, you have to go for it, because there's nowhere better than Burnley for that to happen. This is a town where if you have a dream, your dreams could come true. All you have to do is apply yourself. That's all that anybody asks of you. You just got to do the hard work.
I agree 100% with all of that. It's all about the merit, isn't it?
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, 100%. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what's the next step for Curantis, and maybe what's the next step for you?
Luke, I always joked and said I'm going to retire early, right? But I think if you wake up every day and you enjoy going to work, I don't think you want to retire. That's
true.
the bottom line. It's such a rewarding job, and I love my staff. I absolutely love the bones of them. And that might sound like really emotional language, but it's true. I really, really love them. I think that what they do day in, day out is phenomenal. And I want to help them to keep on doing that. So as a business owner, as a director of the business, that's where I come in. I really enjoy working with the community, working with vulnerable, and I find it really rewarding. I want to keep on doing that. We have a branch currently that we've opened in Blackburn, and hopefully we'll have, you'll see it soon, we already have it, but you'll see a headquarters in Burnley. So I want to put Curantis on the map. I want to show all of this town that through their support and their help, we're actually going somewhere, and we're taking them with us. So these 100 workers that work for Curantis, they provide for their families are happier. That knock-on effect, that snowball effect of basically that social value, of adding value, as you were saying before. I think it's really important. I want to keep on doing that. So the sky's the limit. In my mind, I would love to have a branch in every town. And I would only just hope that every town was as wonderful to be in as Burnley is.
Perfect answer. Fantastic.
Very truthful answer.
Yeah. Lubna, where can we find you, or where can we find Curantis?
Okay, so I've recently, the last couple of months, maybe nearly a year, discovered Facebook.
Just a decade or two late.
Just a bit late. So if you Google myself, Lubna Khan, Burnley, I come up anyway. But Curantis Healthcare is on Facebook, and all our phone numbers are there as well. For all our social media handles, if you just type it into Google, it comes up. And like I say, we are Burnley based. So pretty much central to where everybody knows as well, just on the outskirts of Burnley Town Centre.
Fantastic.
Easy to find.
Lubna, thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.